Hey everyone! So today I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of going to medical school. And of course, I have to put in disclosure I'm not the one that's going to medical school, my husband is. So it's kind of more like the pros and cons of a spouse of a medical student. So, from my perspective, a big pro is you learn a lot. It's so fun. My husband can come home and he loves learning. So, he comes home and tells me all about it, and he really enjoys that. Every day, there's new things to learn and grow and expand your brain. If that's a con for you, that is probably not a good choice to go to medical school. Learning is a huge thing. He says that some classes that's only an hour long will go through like 163 slides of information. That is a ton when you have classes most of the day, and then to review that for the test. So that could be a pro or con depending on if you like to learn or not, and how well you learn and how fast you're able to learn. A con for me is it's so expensive. I'm a stay-at-home mom because we have 3 little ones, and it's so expensive. I am like, oh my goodness, student loans, gross. Um, a huge pro is it stretches you and it helps you grow in ways you wouldn't think. Like we had to move out of state. And then we're gonna have to move again for rotations, and then we'll have to move again for residency. And then if my husband does a fellowship, we'll have to move again. So like stretching wise, we have to constantly be on the move and be willing to come and go as the school tells us. A con for me as well is sometimes I feel like the doctors in medical school, and they probably like know everything, what they're doing, but I feel like they focus a lot on diseases that are very rare. And my husband complains about it as well. He feels like they say, oh, learn this disease, and there's only been 10 people with this disease for the last 100 years. And so sometimes your brain is full of things that you don't necessarily need to learn, I guess. It probably is good to be aware of those things, but to be tested on every little detail of a disease that has had an effect only on 10 people can be kind of frustrating. I think a huge pro is there's an awesome way to connect to people. I feel like I've been able to connect to a lot of different medical people because my husband's going to medical school. And I think that's with any job, obviously. But with medical school, I think that there's a lot of people that know what you're going through and help you through the process. I've had some good friends that have given me some good suggestions on like what to do and how to do things, and it can be kind of nice to have like a mentor, I guess. I think a con for me is medical school tends to try to put things off as much as possible. They wouldn't tell us if we've been accepted for medical school, or when our deadline was, or when we were supposed to move here, or all that stuff. And then when rotations happen, they didn't tell us where we were going to move for a really long time, or if we're going to transfer it, or if we weren't. And then for residency, you have to wait almost a month after the school knows before they even announce where you're going. And that can just be like really frustrating because why can't we just know? And then there's not that weird waiting period where you just feel nervous. I don't know. I always like to know what's going to come next, but I think everyone does. I think another con is there's a lot of politics in medicine and a lot of competition, and people can be really unkind in ways. In my husband's school, everyone's very kind, and it's not as competitive. It's more like everyone wants to help everyone else. But in really, really high level schools, people want to almost get out at you so that you can't do as well. Like my husband's heard of schools where kids will pour coffee on other kids' computers or students' computers so that it ruins all of their work that they've done, just to get on top of their ranking. So things like that, like it's a little petty, which I don't think is cool. Anyways, I think that another thing that I don't like about medical school, like I mentioned, it's really expensive, but sometimes I don't agree with how they spend their money. Uh, it is very, I guess, up there, whatever, ritzy, whatever. But I don't feel like they need to cater food every day for doctors, or um, they don't need the perfect everything for the school as long as the students are learning. Maybe I'm wrong. There's some things like that as well. Uh, in general, medical school has been a really good experience for our family. We've really enjoyed it. My husband does study a lot, which can be a con, but it's also a pro. Like, he's able to learn what he loves, and that has been a good thing. So there's a few pros and cons. Please leave in your comments below, what are your questions with medical school, and we'd love to answer them. Especially I can ask my husband and he can respond to different thoughts that you've had. I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya. Bye.